We have information from various sources that a similar provocation, and I can't call it anything other than a provocation, is being prepared in other parts of Syria, including the southern suburbs of Damascus, where they're again preparing to release some similar chemical substances and accuse the Syrian authorities of using them.
And now they're going to call me a Russian agent again because Vladimir Putin has come out and said clearly the chemical attack was a false flag. We never do that. Just like they did a few years ago, they got caught. And then we have Ron Paul saying it, and we have the British ambassador saying it. Are we all Russian agents? I guess Putin is. So let's go ahead and play Vladimir Putin. Is Daria going to read the subtitles, or am I?
Oh, they're already there.
Okay, we got actually an evil Russian working here. U.S. Army veteran, the whole 9 yards, but she can't be trusted. But here, she's going to read what Putin had to say. Here it is.
We have information from various sources that a similar provocation, and I can't call it anything other than a provocation, is being prepared in other parts of Syria, including the southern suburbs of Damascus, where they're again preparing to release some similar chemical substances and accuse the Syrian authorities of using them. But we regard that any such incident would be reason enough for a thorough investigation. We are preparing to make a formal call to the relevant UN agency in The Hague and call on the international community to investigate thoroughly these incidents, and depending on the results of the investigation, to make informed decisions and take meaningful action.
All right, let's go to the former British ambassador to Syria, Peter Ford, 2 days ago, saying that they've now given them plenty of excuses to stage more false flags.
And based on previous experience, including Iraq, we can see that we cannot take at face value what the so-called intelligence experts tell us, not when they have an agenda. But come back to the main point, it's not going to end here. And we are likely, Britain, to be dragged into it because Trump has just given the jihadis 1,000 reasons to stage fake flag operations, seeing how successful and how easy it is with a gullible media to provoke the West into intemperate reactions. They will very likely stage an operation similar to what they did, and this was documented by the United Nations in August last year. They mounted a chlorine gas attack on civilians, and they tried to make it look like it was a regime operation. This, mark my words, you're hearing it here, and it will happen, and we'll get all the warmongers coming to tell us that Assad is defying us and we must go in more heavily into Syria. This will be fake flag.
Fake flag, a new term is coined. Better than false flags, the public can actually understand what that means. Meanwhile, I have the report I'm going to play in a few minutes. CNN attacked myself and others for saying that this was a false flag. And they always say that we have no proof. They don't actually show us with the proof. I'm going to play Ron Paul first. But it just illustrates the fact that the rebels have been caught red-handed once, and at least 3 other times partially, launching attacks on themselves. Once it blew up on them as they were preparing to launch it inside a city area. And they've done this before, so Putin rightfully is saying they'll probably detonate it in Aleppo or somewhere like Damascus in a suburb and then say it's ours. When this is Obama and now Trump's red line, and the Syrians are winning the war, why in the world would they launch it? Well, they say they have the track of the planes flying from that base over this village. The Russians say they bombed Al-Qaeda, ISIS, al-Nusra, and that it was chemicals on the ground that killed them. The media is also saying that we say no chemical attack happened. No, I believe 80-something people died from a chemical attack. But I want to ask again, why were we all shown the images of dead kids when we never see the images of dead kids when it's jihadis running over people in London or in Luxembourg or in Stockholm, Sweden, or in Brussels, Belgium, or in Paris, France, or in Nice, or in Berlin, or in Cologne? You never see that. But you saw it here, didn't you? And when our missiles goes astray, and hit a village and killed 4 people. Do we see images of those dead kids? This is how they operate, ladies and gentlemen. So Ron Paul came out first. We came out first. We had an article day one with our sources in Syria with the jihadis celebrating. Let's show Syrian Girl's article, if we can, that it was a false flag. We had the first article, and then we showed the jihadis celebrating that they'd done it. Because, see, they get paid by Saudi Arabia for this. So they want to show they did it and just hope our media covers it up for them. Report, Soros-linked group behind chemical attack in Syria. It is a group he funds. Chemical attack has all the hallmarks of a false flag. The media makes jokes about that. Ladies and gentlemen, George Soros admittedly funded the Arab Spring. He admittedly funded the overthrow of Ukraine and their elected government. He's hardcore. He's crashed major governments' currencies. He's a James Bond villain in the real world. But the media makes jokes. Oh, the little sweet Soros, he says he would be behind it. George Soros, at age 15, was rounding up Jews by the thousands. He's a famous Nazi collaborator. If you're rounding up people, your own people, by the thousands and marching them off to death after you rob them when you're 15, what do you do when you're 87 or whatever he is? But the media, again, makes jokes. Oh, Alex Jones says it could be a false flag. I mean, Soros was demanding February 2nd that Trump overthrow Assad. The good news is Trump's coming out, as I told you yesterday, and saying, I don't want a no-fly zone. I don't want to widen this. I don't want to topple Assad. It's his surrogates that are doing it, and they've proven they're out of control. I don't believe it's a double message like we've been hearing from Pachenik. I think Pachenik's right on most things. But Trump's told confidants and others that, no, he doesn't want this, as he always said. But he wants to say nobody better use chemicals because we don't know who did it either way. And that's now what the Secretary of Defense has come out and said. He said, and so has the Secretary of State, we're doing this to deter chemicals. They were supposed to give up the chemicals, and the chemicals were at that base. Now, is that true? We don't know 100%. But I know from inside the White House what Trump believes. I told you first that he believes he's sending a message on chemical weapons, and now that's what they've said. They've come out again last night and today and said, do not use chemicals, anybody. Well, how do you deter, then, the rebels from staging false flags, fake flags, as the British ambassador called it? But notice MSM won't show you Putin, the British ambassador, or Ron Paul. I guess Bill O'Reilly did a few nights ago and made fun of Ron Paul. That's it. No one else is showing serious statesmen that are respected. Say what you want about Putin. He's respected when the president of Russia says that they think it was staged and they think more is coming. That should be on our news. Let's go ahead and play Ron Paul from his own show last week. And we've got Ron Paul again on RT. In fact, I want to play both clips, but here's Ron Paul on his own program.
And who would benefit? It makes no sense, even if you were totally separate from this and take no sides of this, and you were just an analyst. It doesn't make any sense for Assad under these conditions to all of a sudden use poison gases. It's zero. I think it's zero chance that he would have done this, deliberately.
We got one more clip of him on RT that's a lot longer, but we'll just play part of it right now where he basically says the same thing. So this is not kooky. This is what most people geopolitically believe and know, because you have a group that's been caught doing it before. They have the motive to do it again because it'll bring the United States in to kick out their enemy Assad. You have Al-Qaeda, ISIS, al-Nusra all celebrating day one since last Thursday, the strikes, and giving them hope now. And they've had more attacks on U.S. camps inside Syria in the last few days as they get oxygen in their lungs in this civil war that we've now been injected into, that I supported because I wanted to end it by kicking Al-Qaeda and al-Nusra and these groups out. But that's not happening now, it looks like. So things are spiraling out of control. I'm going to cover China in the next segment, which is really the big enchilada. But right now, let's get back to Ron Paul's clip.
They needed a so-called excuse. They worked real hard, that is our government and their coalition, an excuse to go into Iraq so they concocted stories, all kinds of things. And that's what this is part of. I don't know why, if any of it is true, why they couldn't wait and take a look at it. You know, a few years ago in 2013, there were these similar stories that, didn't go anywhere because with a little bit of a pause, there was a resistance to it built up in our Congress as well as the American people, they thought it was all, a fraud and that nothing like that was happening. And right now, I just don't see how it could conceivably be what they claim, because it's helping ISIS, it's helping Al Qaeda, it's helping the enemy that we're supposed to at least be fighting.
That's right. Bingo. Total bingo. Everything there's total veritas. Who can deny it? Now, I'm going to play this and really try to not start it and stop it, because I want to come back and get into the North Korea situation with China that's probably 10 times bigger than this. But this is all illustrative of how our media deceives. Here's CNN trying to drive a wedge in Trump's main populist support base, trying to give us attention, hoping we do it more. I could care less about being on CNN. Trying to get us all to throw the baby out with the bathwater and be mad at Trump, when overall he's doing a great job domestically, and I understand why he did this, to look strong, and he couldn't tell either way. And they also wanted to send a message to North Korea, and it seems like it's happened. And so we're going to start the clip now, and then we're going to come back with the rest of it on the other side. You know what? I'll go to the clip when we come back on the other side, just so we have plenty of time to get to it, and then I'll get into all the other big issues that we're facing. But alt-right turns on President Trump. We'll detail exactly what's happening there when we come back. First off, I talked earlier about how Google, Media Matters, the Democrats, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they're all bragging, hey, we've demonetized InfoWars 75%. Paul's got all the graphs. He's broken that down last week. They're bragging how they kicked us off Google ads via AdRoll. They brag how they're not letting, they're age restricting us, and just mild videos that we covered that would never be age restricted on CNN. They are strangling us 100 different ways, basically, and admitting it. Understand, they've sold this to the left that, oh, it's cute and fun if we shut up the nationalists, the patriots, what they call the alt-right. That's a form of dehumanization. I'm not the alt-right. I'm a libertarian who really wants prosperity and freedom for everybody. I fight real racism. I fight real classism. I want prosperity. That's why I'm against this war expanding and all the rest of it. And that's why I'm critical of Trump. When Democrats wouldn't be critical of Hillary doing this, you can bet your bottom dollar. I have integrity. I have credibility. I don't get my funding from political parties or big corporations. I get it from listeners that support us and buy the products at InfoWarsStore.com. But we're able to finish funding ourselves with outside advertising, which they're trying to kill. Now, the good Lord's opened a lot of other windows to us to support us, so I'm very thankful. But if you're not spreading InfoWars.com articles, if you're not telling people, hey, this is the forbidden site, this is the cutting edge, this is the guy they want to arrest as a Ruski because he actually cares about the country and really is moral. This is the guy they physically attack. This is, if you want us to win, understand we're fighting for you. And we need you to spread the word, to pray for us, and to financially go to InfoWarsStore.com and buy some of the great products you need. Sign up for auto ship and get 10% off. And that way you know you're committed and get a big discount. We'll be right back. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to InfoWars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. InfoWars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You gonna sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you gonna be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.